close to me now as I pray, Lady Hera. May your gracious form appear to which the sons of Atreus prayed, glorious kings. They won very many prizes, first at Troy, then on the sea, and set out from here but could not complete the road, until they called on you and Zeus of suppliants and Thyroin's lovely child. Thoin's lovely child? Thoin's lovely child. Now be gentle and help me too, as of old, holy and beautiful maiden, around to be, to arrive. I'm gonna take you back to the past to say witty poems that are sometimes remembered en masse. This is Sappho, a famous pop star from the Greek island of Lesbos. She was born about 200 years before the famous man Plato, and almost 2,650 years before you. Sadly, she died one lifetime later, only to be remembered in another time. But during her short pre-mortem stint on the third planet besides Sol, Sappho did a lot of stuff that I would argue is pretty cool. Welcome to the same place you were before, but with a video image of archaic Lesbos. Like any city or island or place, at any time, it had its political shenanigans and its arts or culture scene. A brutal oversimplification of the basic gist of what sort of material archaic Greeks were responding to can be broadly represented by two main traditions. Or maybe it can't, but we won't entertain that possibility in this video for logistical reasons. There was the Homeric tradition, which were like Marvel movies but with good stories in them. They sort of served a theological purpose and a moral education for a person in society. Think along the lines of Spider-Man meets the Bible, but with the characters of Percy Jackson. Exactly. Then there was the underground scene, the punk rap and rock poets who probably originated from the mystery cults, a secondary stream of Greek religion who most often worshipped the god of wine and the goddess of fertility, kind of like the Rolling Stones. So instead of just traditional mainstream hymns, you had people dropping drinking songs, diss tracks, and love songs. Sappho says, some men say an army of horse, and some men say an army on foot, and some men say an army of ships is the most beautiful thing on the black earth. But I say it is what you love. Now, of course, this language is a little bit too sensitive and sentimental for somebody like me, who is a manly man of immense physical strength, so I don't need emotions. But what is striking in these fragments of Sappho is the repeated use of this fascinating word, ego. Ego? Translated to English as I. I is a word that means me, but not like me specifically. It could be you too if you said it, but actually it couldn't be you two unless they said it. Most ancient people that wrote stuff that survived didn't use the word I extensively to elaborate their personal thoughts to the reader. I don't think. Most ancient songs and stories discuss religious rites, gods, or battles, not personal feelings. Right? In Lesbos, there's no Fleabag. There's no Euphoria. There's no You've Got Mail. All they had is the movie 300, but obviously in like the original Greek. There are exceptions. Some people said I eventually, otherwise the word wouldn't exist, but lots of them didn't take it lightly. Some of them were just Sappho's teachers probably, and some of them were just weird about it, like the OG MC, very first Homo sapien Meister there ever was, Enheduanna of Mesopotamia. Enheduanna was dropping bars before Pharaoh Ramses II was a quiet stroll by the River Nile. She's the first named author in the historical record so far, and all the way back then she used I, or some cuneiform Sumerian word that has been translated to English as I in her poetry. But she didn't use it to address an audience like I'm doing right now in this sentence. She only really seems to have used it to address her goddess. I am Enheduanna. I will pray to you, holy Inanna. Kind of like how Christian prayers sometimes use the word we. Sappho is basically way more intimate. She addresses not a goddess and maybe also not an audience of unknown number who she never met like we do, but the people in her aristocratic circle, her lovers or friends or students, or her daughter. Or a goddess as well. I mean, you play the hits. Maybe the ancient equivalent of diaries was not something that was preserved. Maybe ancient people just thought about themselves less. Either way, when accomplished Greek scholars praised her for centuries on end, they probably didn't do it because she said that she loved some people a couple of times. What is the merit of Sappho's poetry? Well, there are 3 reasons. Probably not, but it's a good way to explain it. We like the number 3. 1 is her technical skill. Sappho's understanding of music and rhythm and meter and other technical attributes of poetry that I don't really understand and probably shouldn't talk about for very long if I want to be mindful of audience retention, was such that accomplished Greek scholars in the following centuries counted her among the greatest poets of the Greek world. If you don't count Homer, who might not have been a person, then there could be an argument to be made that Sappho was the most highly regarded poet in ancient Greece. Like, not just archaic Greece, not just among female poets, but the best poet. Their Shakespeare, the greatest of all time. Not that there wouldn't be other contenders, but still. 2 is her capacity to innovate. In addition to being one of the first people to talk about her feelings, Sappho invented the lyre, or a certain kind of lyre, which is the reason why we have the word lyric. Her metrical form was adopted by famous poets throughout the rest of the Greco-Roman antique world, and she probably contributed in no small part to the naming of female homosexuality after the island where she lived. So that's 2 words that start with L, a musical instrument that's shaped like an L, a tradition of poetry, and an entire dimension of human discourse that might not exist, or at least not in the same way, without her. 3 is the fact that even though I definitely don't want to admit it, and most of us don't want to admit it most of the time, her poems make us have emotions, which can make them engaging. Consider this poem that she wrote about her brother. You guys ready? We're going to do a recitation. O Cypris and Nereid, O Cypris and Nereids, undamaged I pray you grant my brother to arrive here, and all that in his heart he wants to be, make it be, and all the wrong he did before, loose it, make him a joy to his friends, a pain to his enemies, and let there exist for us not one single further sore. May he willingly give his sister her portion of honor, but sad pain. Then it trails off into fragments. Imagine if your sibling said that about you. I feel like you'd be pretty honored. Notice also that we don't do this kind of thing very much at all anymore. Anyone who becomes an artist uses their gifts for money, or if not that, personal expression or reflection as a way to relax. It's rare that anyone thinks about using their artistic gifts to directly uplift their support network. People might think it was bragging or weird if you tried to create some beautiful painting or song for someone instead of just sending them a greeting card. Sappho seems to have personal conversations and give advice to people through her poems. Here's a fragment where she expresses love for her daughter. Here's another one where she tells her daughter that women used to put on different kinds of things on their hair in decades prior, and contemplates what kind of fashion she should have. The last thing I've done for this video was attempt to combine my favorite translations of the Hymn to Aphrodite, or Fragment 1, one of the most famous and most acclaimed poems of Sappho that comes down to us. It's also one of the only poems that's preserved in its entirety. It adopts an established form of a Homeric hymn, but seemingly subverts expectations by talking about her preferred themes of love, rather than the more traditional themes of heroism and war. There are hints of humor and wit, as well as romance and religious devotion. Certainly impressive that such disparate themes are balanced so effortlessly in this goes hard, dope-ass, booty-knocking banger that's 600 years older than Jesus. Spectacular throned immortal Aphrodite, mischievous child of Zeus, I beg you, queen of love, break not my heart with pain, but come here, if ever before you heard my distant voice and felt my love, left your father's golden house and came, yoked your chariot, birds with pretty wings, crick sparrows brought you to the black earth, down from the sky, through midair and soon arrived, and you, blessed one, a gentle smile upon your deathless face, asked what has happened to me this time, why am I calling out this time, and what crazy wish now has my heart, who should I entice this time, to find her way into your arms, who torments you now, Sappho, I bet if she flees, she'll soon pursue, if she refuses gifts, she'll soon be giving too, if she does not love you, soon she will, even if she wasn't looking to. Come to me now, free me from my crushing wants. All I wish for, make it happen, and in battle, you be my ally.